Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys, good afternoon and a very warm welcome to what is sure to be another special Harcourts Rata co-auction here at number 3, Linoak Avenue in LALOR. My name is Robert Ozzimo. I proudly represent the company of Harcourts Rata & Co. And I'm joined here today by some of my award-winning team in blue. You'll notice them walking out, streaming into the crowd here at the moment. Should you require their advice, please feel free to approach either Andrew, Michael, Alex, and of course Leon Lascaris and Michael Cananzi, who no doubt you've had the great pleasure of meeting throughout the marketing campaign. Boys, let me share with you the following announcements which in place to help you bid and buy with absolute confidence here today. The auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules and any additional conditions that remain available for inspection before the start of the auction. The auction rules prohibit an auctioneer from accepting bids or offers for a property after the property has been knocked down to the successful bidder. The vendors have a reserve price as the auctioneer will indicate bidders on request. The law prohibits false bids, prohibits major disruptions by bidders and prohibits bidders attempting to prevent others from bidding and provides the fines for such conduct. The rules permit for vendor bids. The words I'll use during the auction to indicate that I'm making a bid on behalf of the vendor are vendor bid, and by law only I, as the auctioneer, can make a vendor bid. The contract of sale has been on display prior to today's auction. We call for 10% deposit upon the fall of the hammer and the signing of that contract here today, and the balance to be paid at settlement on the 7th of July 2025, so roughly 45 days time, at which time the vendor will provide the lucky buyer with vacant possession of the property. All in all, quite a straightforward contract. Everything is in there. Everything is quite clear. So buyers is with my highest recommendation what we offer for your consideration and competition here today, sitting on over 400 square metres. What a great example of a beautiful home here in the heart of LALOR. Nice open floor plan living, that huge space off the kitchen, perfect for relaxing or entertaining. Absolutely nothing to do. You can tell, you can see from the moment you walk through the door how well it's been looked after. So you can buy with confidence today, knowing that you're buying a good quality home here in a great location where we've got access to absolutely everything that you need to provide an awesome lifestyle and also to provide significant capital growth. Walking distance to LALOR station, not far away at all from a number of parks, schools, shopping and transport options. So ticks absolutely every single box in terms of location. The property itself, it's easy to love. Today is your opportunity to own it. If you'd like to get the sold sticker on that board at the conclusion of this auction, right now, buyers, is your time to reserve that right. Where can I see a fair and reasonable starting bid for number 3, Linoak? Who'd like to start us off, buyers? I don't mind the call. I'm in your hands. Start me where you like. We've had a few active auctions here today, so I don't mind taking a little bit of a pause. I lost my voice at the last auction, so it's an opportunity for me to get it back before we get into the bidding here today. But I will say, buyers, that this is an opportunity for you at 650,000, fair enough at 650 now, and the bid's there with Michael at 650. At 650,000, at 650,000, fairly been offered now at 650 the bid. At 650,000, any better bid, any better offer than 650. At 650,000, can I suggest 25 in the rise? At $650,000 the bid. At 650,000. Bids there at 50 now. Once at 10. Why not? If it gets you involved, can I say 60 now? 660,000. Same courtesy, sir. 10 if you like. 60 I've got. It's got to be 70 now. At 660,000 and the bids behind. 80. At 680,000, even better. At 680,000, round me off to 7. Fight fire with fire. At 690, I'll take the 90. At 690,000 and 700 beckons now. At 690,000, welcome, sir, and best of luck at 700,000. Even money at that now at 7. At 700,000, bids here in the centre, opportunity on either side. At 700 the bid. At 710 now, 20 if you like. At 710,000, the bid's here. At 710 the bid. Can't just give me one bid, sir. Surely we've got to dance a little bit more than that. At 710,000, 20 will get you back in front. Same opportunity and courtesy over there, sir. At 710,000, the bid's there. At 710. Yeah, actually, sir, I'm glad that you asked, because we are on the market and selling. The issue with that, sir, though, it's not your bid. So if you want to buy, you have to bid me now. At 710,000, bids here, keys are here. We're on the market, we're selling. If there's no further bid, you'll buy it at that at 721. I love that bid at 721. At 721 now. At 721,000. We're on the market and selling 25 now. At 725 at 30 got. 30 I had here first. At 730,000. At 730,000 and 40 now. At 740 the bid. At 740,000 fairly been on at 49, sir. At 749. At 749,000 fairly been offered at 749. At 749 the bid. Was that a bid over there? At 749. At 740. At 50 now, an easy jump to 50. At 750,000. 752. At 752 now the bid at 752,000. Same courtesy too. If you like a big bid, might buy it for you now though. At 53.
760.
At 60, even better. At 760,000, fight fire with fire. Give me a big bid in response. At 760,000, at 61 now. 761 at 63 now. At 5. At 765 bid there. Opportunity with you. At 65.
69.
At 69. At 769,000. At 769. At 70 now. At 770,000. At 71. At 771. At 771,000. Almost took me back down to the 600s. At 771,000 the bid's there. At 771. At 771,000 fairly been offered now. 771 the bid. Opportunity here. We are on the market. At 72, at 772, at 73, at 773. So have I lost you? You still with me? I've lost you. No, definitely done. Thank you for your bids here today. At 773,000 bid there. Back against you at 773. At 4,
76.
At 76, at 776, at 776 the bid and the bids here. Opportunity with you again. Perhaps take me to 80 at 776,000. Fairly been offered at 776. At 780, where was that back here? At 780. Welcome and best of luck at 780,000. At $780,000 the bid.
81.
At 81 now. Welcome back at 81. At 781,082 now. I'm not going inside. By the way, there's no halftime break. I'm out here till we sell. At 82, we're on the market. We're selling.
85.
If you've come to buy, you need to bid me now at 85. At 785, you need to bid me now. If ever, hold your peace because we sell away here today at 785,000. Bids there, keys are there. We're selling once at 785. Are we done? At 785,000 twice.
Take one, Rob?
I will take one at 86, at 786 now. At 786,000, at 87 now, the keys are back with you. At 787, at 787,000, can I say 90 in the rise? Or perhaps take me to 800. At 787,000, the bid's there now. Opportunity with you. I'm going to sell at 787,000. What is? At 88, at 788,
791.
at 91, at 791, at 791,000, we're back there at 91, at 791. You're still done, sir? On the phone seeking instructions? No. At 791, instructions have been given. At 791,000, fairly been offered bid there. What do you say? 91. Can I say 800 in the rise? Let's get it done. At $791,000 a bid. First call at 791, at 92. At 92 in the bids back there at 792. At 792,000, fairly been offered at 792 the bid. At 792,000, you've come so far. You've worked so hard. This is where you've got to dig deep to get the job done. At 792, fairly been offered now.
3.
At 93. At 793,000. At 793,000, if you want to walk away with the keys, show me now.
795.
At 5, at 95. 800 surely, sir. Or perhaps 801. At $795,000 the bid. Bids there, keys are there. Are we done over here? Still thinking about it? I'll circle back to you, give you a moment to consider your position here today. At 795, bids there, keys are there at 95. Once at 795, are we done? Twice at 795,000, done, finished. Third, final call at 795. I thought you were calling your son over there, so I apologise. Welcome and best of luck. At 800,000, at 800,000 and the bid's there. At 800 the bid. At 800,000 even money. Welcome, best of luck. At 800,000 even money now. And what a way to enter, grabbing those keys off the competition. At 800,000 now. At 800,000 fairly been offered. We rarely sell on one bid. Might be your lucky day here today, sir. At $800,000 the bid for the first call. At 800,000. Are we done? Second call at $800,000 the bid. At 801, at 801,000 wasn't to be, sir, but might be at 802 or 805. At 801,000 the bid's there. At 801 the bid. At 801,000. At 801,000 fairly been offered now. 801 the bid. At 800, come on, sir, come with me for another bid. Don't be a one bid wonder here today. Give me another one. At 801,000 bids there. First call at 801. Are we done? Second call, 801,000 done. Finished. Third, Final call at 801. All done, all finished, silent at 802. And welcome back, sir. At 802,000, the pressure back on over here. At 802,000, I'll circle back at 802,000. We're definitely done here. Thank you once more. At 802,000, sir, you've been quiet for a while. At 3 now, and welcome back at 3. We're definitely done here. Thank you very much for your bidding here today. At 803,000, are we done here? Thank you very much for your spirited bidding here today. At 803,000, bids back there, keys are back there. You've beaten all but one, sir. At 803,000, the bids there, I need to know now. At 803, if there's no further bids, sir, I'll sell at that. At $803,000 the bid. If you want to buy, you have to dig deep right now, sir. At 803,000, we're on the market. We sell 803 the bid. Once at 803,000, all done. 805, and welcome back at 805. At 805,000, has he done enough? Surely not. You've been so strong since you entered. At 805,000, at 805,000, you've got to finish strong if you want to buy. 805 from the bids there. At 805 now. At 805,000, fairly been offered. We absolutely sure. Absolutely, definitely done. At 805,000, bids there, keys are there. We're on the market. We sell 805 the bid, all done. First call at 805,000, done. Twice at $805,000 the bid, done and finished. Third, final call, 805 the bid, all done, all finished, all silent, all out at 805. Done there. We're definitely done here. Definitely done here. 805 on your word. If you tell me I'll have your best, I'll sell at that. Last chance at 805,000. In or out? Definitely 806.
That's okay.
Can I say 806,000? Okay. At 806,000, welcome back at 806. At 806,000 was a laboured bid, sir. At 806,000, the bid's back there now. 806 the bid. At 806,000, got the competition back down to ones. At 806,000, now fairly been offered at 806. At 806,000. At 806,000, don't miss out for one, sir. At 806 the bid. Bids there, keys are there. We sell. First call at 806, done. Twice at 806,000, done. Finished. Third, final call, $806,000 the bid, all done, all finished, silent, out at 806. What do you say, sir? 807?
The house.
Well, you've got plenty of time to see it once you own it, sir. At 806,000, the bid's there. What do you say? Yes or no? 806,000, take it from me, it's a beauty. At 806, bids there, do we let them have it at that? Can't get you back in at 807? I'll have your best bid here today. You're very hard to read, sir. Show me your eyes, tell me you're out. You're definitely done. Thank you very much for your bidding here today. 806,000, bids there, keys are there. He tells me he's out. First call at 806, all done. Second call at 806,000, done, finished. Where are you off to, sir?
I just want to see from here.
At 806,000. Leon, can you please give him the quick tour? At 806,000 now. At 806,000, I'm going to give you ample opportunity to make the right decision for you and your family here today, and I'll do the same when I sell your home too. At $806,000 a bid. Wrap it up, Michael. At 806. At 806,000 now. They've left me with no fillers, Alex. At 806,000, the bid's there. Fairly been offered now. At 806,000. Hopefully he comes back out with a bid. Ma'am, surely you can make an executive decision at 806. What do you say? One more at 807,000. That's how good the house is. One quick inspection and we're back on top at 807,000. At 807,000, the bid's back there now at 807. How about 810 in the rise? At 807,000, fairly been offered. At 807, the bid. At 807,000, fairly been offered. Bid there, keys there, on the market, selling. 807,000, need to know now. At $807,000, the bid. Now, you've seen the home, haven't you, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you've definitely seen it. Thank you. At 807,000, bids there. 808. 1 minute or 1,000, ma'am? At 807,000, I'll give you ample time, as I said, to make the right decision here for you and your family today. At 807,000, bids there. Waiting instructions here, sir. I will circle back soon. At 807, the bid. First call at 808. At 808,000 now. At 808, and the bid's there. 810 now. At 8. Surely it's worth more now that you've inspected, sir. At 808,000. At 809. At $809,000 a bid. At 809, the bid's back there at 809. At 809,010. At 810. At 810,000, fairly been offered, bid back there, keys there, opportunity here, sir, at $810,000 a bid. At 810 bids there on the phone at 810. At 810,000, got to sell, need to know, $810,000. First call at 810, all done. Second call, 810,000, are we done? Finished? Third, final call, $810,000 the bid, all done, all finished, all silent and out there, out here. So it's down to you, 810,000. Need to know definitively now. At 811, at 811,000. At 811,000, we're back there now at 811. Are we absolutely certain this time, ma'am? At 811,000, you've told me that before. At 811,000, I'll give you one more moment to consider your position. At 811 the bid, at 811,000, and the bid's back there with our new buy at 811. At 811,000, fairly been offered now. At 811,000, at 811 the bid, we're on the market, we're selling. If you've come to buy, please bid me now or forever hold your peace. At 811,000, bids there, keys are there, about to sell. First call at 811, done. Twice at 811,000, done. Finished. Third, final call, $811,000 the bid, all done. 500? At 500, 811 and a half. At 811 and a half. You've been good to me, ma'am, so I'll take the half, and I'll give you the same courtesy at half if you like, sir. 811 and a half. 811,500, and the bid's there now. 811 and a half. Don't walk away for $500, sir. You'll spend more than that celebrating tonight. At 811,500, fairly been offered now. 811 and a half. At 811,500, fairly been offered. Need to know now, sir. 811 and a half. 811,500 the bid. 811,500.
812.
At 812, at 812,000, at 812,000, small bids help the competition come along, big bids buy property, 812,000 bids there. Are we done now? At 812 the bid, definitely done. 812,000 once, at 812 done, twice, at 812,000 done and finished for the third and final call. 812 the bid, all done, all finished, silent, out at 812,000. Ma'am, are we absolutely sure?
Yes.
Not another half?
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you very much for your spirited bidding here today. 812,000. Tell me they're out at 812. Need to know now, Michael. 812,000. Bid there. There's another bid forthcoming on Eat It Now at 812,000 and a half at 812 and a half. At 812,500. Bid back there now. 812 and a half. At 812,500, you're absolutely sure now. At 812 and a half now, we're definitely done over here. At 812,500, fairly been offered now at 812 and a half. At 812,500, bid there on the phone, been with me from almost the very start. At 812,000, first call at 812 and a half, are we done? Twice at 812 and a half, done, finished. Third, final call. 812,500, all done, all finished, all silent, all out at 812 and a half. Done now, sir?
Yeah, done.
Definitely done? What about the boss? What does the boss say? No, definitely out. Thank you very much for your spirited bidding here today. I hope we enjoy success together next time we meet at 812 and a half. Bids there, keys are there, first call, second call, third, final call, 812 and a half. Are we done? Finished? Silent? Out at 812 and a half. We're selling. Sure, sir. Selling. Selling. Sold. Congratulations and well bid. Please join me in congratulating our purchasers and our vendors here today. You've just witnessed another